The biggest difference between those who break under pressure and those who become unbreakable has nothing to do with talent, luck, or intelligence. What if it's something you can actually train, like a muscle? Every day, millions of people face pressure, stress at work, financial struggles, relationship problems, health challenges, or personal failures. Most of them crumble. They quit, they panic, they lose control, or they simply give up. But small few stays calm. They stay focused. They keep moving forward even when everything around them is falling apart. These people don't have superpowers. They have trained their minds using the science of mental toughness. Welcome to the infinite library. Chapter 1. What mental toughness really is, the science behind staying strong under pressure. Welcome to the science of mental toughness. Master your mind under pressure. In this first chapter, you will discover exactly what mental toughness is according to modern neuroscience and psychology, and why it is the ultimate advantage when life gets hard. You will learn why some people break under pressure while others become stronger. By the end of this chapter, you will have a clear scientific foundation for building unbreakable mental toughness. Stay with me. This is where you begin to master your mind under pressure. Stay strong when life gets hard. When everything is falling apart, when you face failure, rejection, loss, betrayal, or overwhelming stress, most people crumble. They panic, quit, or fall apart emotionally. But a small percentage of people do the opposite. They stay calm. They think clearly. They keep moving forward even when the pressure is crushing. That is not luck. That is mental toughness. This is not motivational fluff. This is the science of how the human brain can be trained to perform at its highest level under extreme pressure. In this opening chapter, we lay the foundation so you can build a mind that doesn't break when life gets hard. Most people believe mental toughness is something you're either born with or without. They think it's a personality trait or just how some people are. Because of this belief, they give up when pressure hits. They tell themselves, "I'm just not tough enough." They avoid challenges, quit when it gets difficult, and live a smaller life than they are capable of. The painful truth is that mental toughness is a learnable skill backed by neuroscience. It is not fixed at birth. Yet most people never learn the science behind it, so they remain mentally fragile their entire lives. This chapter destroys that myth and gives you the real scientific blueprint. Meet James. James was a talented athlete with big dreams. During a major competition, he faced intense pressure and completely froze. He choked, lost the match, and spiraled into self-doubt for months. He started avoiding high-stakes situations because he believed he wasn't mentally tough. When James learned the science of mental toughness in this series, everything changed. He applied the foundational principles from this chapter and began training his brain deliberately. A year later, in an even bigger competition, he performed at his absolute best under the same intense pressure. James didn't suddenly become a different person. He simply built mental toughness using proven science, and it made him unstoppable. What mental toughness really is, the science behind staying strong under pressure, the scientific definition of mental toughness, what it actually means according to neuroscience, sports psychology, and performance research. The 4 core pillars of mental toughness: resilience, focus under pressure, emotional regulation, and adaptive confidence, with brain scan studies supporting each. Why most people lack mental toughness: the role of modern comfort culture, overprotection, social media, and lack of deliberate training in creating mental fragility. The neuroscience of mental toughness: how the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and dopamine systems work together to create calm strength under pressure. The difference between temporary grit and permanent mental toughness, why most toughness advice fails, and what actually creates lasting change. Measuring your current level of mental toughness, a complete self-assessment with scoring and exact next steps. The hopeful truth: Mental toughness can be built at any age. The latest research on neuroplasticity showing rapid improvement is possible. Chapter 2. Why most people break under pressure. The hidden science of mental fragility. You now understand what mental toughness really is and the science behind staying strong under pressure. In this chapter, you will discover exactly why most people break when life gets hard and why you don't have to. You will learn the hidden psychological and neurological reasons that cause mental collapse under stress. By the end, you will clearly see the invisible forces that make people fragile and how to protect yourself from them. Stay with me. This chapter reveals the root causes so you can build a mind that never breaks. Stay strong when life gets hard. Why do some people collapse under pressure while others rise? Why does one person fall apart from a single failure while another uses the same failure as fuel? The answer is not willpower, luck, or genetics. It is that most people have never been taught the science of why their mind breaks under pressure. In this chapter, we expose the hidden mechanisms, both psychological and neurological, that cause mental fragility. Once you understand these mechanisms, you can deliberately protect yourself and build the opposite, true mental toughness. Most people believe they are mentally strong until real pressure hits. Then they panic, quit, lash out, freeze, or fall into depression. They blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. But the real culprit is inside their own untrained mind. Modern life has made us mentally soft. We avoid discomfort. We seek constant validation. We live in comfort zones protected by technology and convenience. When pressure comes, and it always does, our brains are not prepared. This chapter shows you the exact science of why this happens and how it silently destroys potential, relationships, careers, and peace of mind. Meet Sarah. Sarah was intelligent, hardworking, and highly educated. She had a great job and seemed successful. But when her company faced a major crisis and she was publicly criticized in a meeting, she completely broke down. She couldn't sleep, replayed the moment for weeks, lost confidence, and almost quit her career. When Sarah learned the science of mental fragility in this chapter, she finally understood why she collapsed. She saw the specific patterns in her brain and mindset that made her vulnerable. She began applying the principles, and 6 months later, when an even bigger crisis hit, she stayed calm, led her team, and came out stronger. Sarah didn't become superhuman. She simply stopped being mentally fragile. Why most people break under pressure. The hidden science of mental fragility, the biology of breaking, how chronic stress, cortisol, and an overactive amygdala create mental collapse under pressure. The psychology of fragility learned helplessness, fixed mindset, fear of discomfort, and avoidance patterns that weaken mental toughness. Modern comfort culture and mental weakness, why ease, instant gratification, and constant safety signals are silently destroying our ability to handle pressure. The role of childhood and upbringing, how overprotection, participation trophies, and lack of real adversity create adults who cannot handle hardship. The 7 hidden triggers that make people break. Detailed analysis of rejection, failure, criticism, uncertainty, loss, public humiliation, and prolonged stress. Why willpower alone fails. The science showing why just be tougher or push through does not build real mental toughness. The good news, fragility can be reversed. Neuroplasticity research proving that mental toughness can be built rapidly once you understand the root causes. Self-diagnosis. Are you mentally fragile? A complete guided assessment to identify your personal weak points with exact remedies. Chapter 3. The 4 core pillars of mental toughness. Your blueprint for strength under pressure. You now understand what mental toughness is and why most people break under pressure. In this chapter, you will discover the exact 4 core pillars that form the scientific blueprint for unbreakable mental toughness. You will learn how these 4 pillars work together in the brain and how to strengthen each one deliberately. By the end, you will have a clear, actionable framework to build a mind that stays strong in any situation. Stay with me. This is the chapter where theory becomes a practical system. Stay strong when life gets hard. Mental toughness is not one single trait. It is built on 4 specific, trainable pillars. When all 4 are strong, you can face failure, criticism, loss, or intense pressure and still perform at your best. When even one pillar is weak, you become vulnerable. In this chapter, we break down the 4 core pillars of mental toughness with the latest neuroscience and performance psychology. You will learn exactly what each pillar is, why it matters, and how to strengthen it starting today. Most people try to become mentally tough by trying harder or adopting random habits. They focus on motivation, positive thinking, or pushing through pain, but they still crack when real pressure hits. The reason is simple. They are only working on 1 or 2 pieces of the puzzle while ignoring the others. Without all 4 pillars working together, mental toughness remains fragile and inconsistent. This chapter gives you the complete blueprint, so you stop guessing and start building a truly unbreakable mind. Meet David. David was physically strong and disciplined in his training, but mentally he was inconsistent. He could handle normal workouts, but during competitions or high-stakes projects he would freeze, doubt himself, or give up too early. When David learned and applied the 4 core pillars of mental toughness from this chapter, the change was dramatic. He strengthened each pillar systematically. 6 months later, in a major competition, he performed better under pressure than ever before and won his first title. David didn't just get tougher. He built a complete, balanced mental toughness system. The 4 core pillars of mental toughness. Your blueprint for strength under pressure. Pillar 1. Unshakable resilience, the ability to bounce back quickly from setbacks, failure, and adversity. Neuroscience of post-traumatic growth and how to train rapid recovery. Pillar 2. Laser focus under pressure, maintaining clear thinking and concentration when stress is high. How the prefrontal cortex and attention networks function under pressure. Pillar 3. Emotional regulation mastery, controlling emotions instead of being controlled by them during intense situations. Techniques to downregulate the amygdala in real time. Pillar 4. Adaptive confidence, belief in your ability to handle whatever comes, without arrogance or fragility. The science of self-efficacy and how to build it deliberately. How the 4 pillars work together, the complete system. Daily integration, identifying weak pillars and creating synergy between them. Scientific measurement tools, how to accurately assess your current level in each pillar with proven frameworks. Common imbalances and how to fix them, why having strong resilience but weak focus still causes failure, and exact correction methods. The long-term transformation, what life feels like when all 4 pillars are strong, calm confidence, consistent performance, and the ability to thrive under pressure. Chapter 4. Pillar 1. Unshakable resilience. How to bounce back stronger from any setback. You now understand the 4 core pillars of mental toughness and why most people break under pressure. In this chapter, you will master the first and most essential pillar, unshakable resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger from any setback, failure, or crisis. You will learn the exact science of how the brain recovers from adversity and how to train rapid, powerful recovery. By the end, you will have practical tools to turn every hardship into fuel instead of defeat. Stay with me. This is where you stop being broken by life and start becoming unbreakable. Stay strong when life gets hard. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about how fast and how strongly you get back up. Most people treat setbacks as permanent damage. They get knocked down once and stay down for weeks, months, or even years. A truly tough mind treats every fall as temporary training data. In this chapter, you will learn the neuroscience of post-traumatic growth, how the brain can actually become stronger after adversity. You will discover why some people emerge from failure better than before, while others never recover. This is Pillar 1 of mental toughness, unshakable resilience. Most people believe that resilience is something you either have or don't have. When they face failure, rejection, loss, or betrayal, they spiral into self-pity, rumination, or giving up completely. They say things like, "I can't handle this," "Why does this always happen to me?" or "I'm just not strong enough." This fragile response keeps them stuck, damages their confidence, and prevents them from reaching their full potential. The truth is that resilience is a trainable skill. Your brain has the biological capacity to recover faster and grow stronger after hardship, but only if you know how to activate it. This chapter gives you the exact science and tools to do that. Rachel was a promising entrepreneur whose first business failed spectacularly. She lost money, faced public criticism, and fell into deep depression for over a year. She almost gave up on her dreams entirely. When she learned the science of unshakable resilience in this chapter, everything changed. She applied the recovery protocols and the post-traumatic growth techniques. Instead of staying broken, she analyzed the failure, extracted the lessons, and launched a new business that became far more successful than the first one. Rachel didn't just recover. She came back stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Pillar 1. Unshakable resilience. How to bounce back stronger from any setback. The biology of resilience, how cortisol, the prefrontal cortex, and neuroplasticity determine how quickly you recover from stress and failure. Post-traumatic growth versus post-traumatic stress. The science showing why some people grow stronger after adversity, while others develop lasting trauma. The 5-stage resilience recovery protocol step-by-step process to move from shock right arrow, acceptance right arrow, learning right arrow, rebuilding right arrow, stronger performance. Advanced techniques to accelerate recovery, the lesson extraction method, reframing adversity as training, the 24-hour rule for emotional processing, building a personal resilience arsenal. Common traps that destroy resilience, rumination loops, victim mentality, comparison, and premature quitting, with exact countermeasures. Training resilience daily, micro-adversity training, deliberate discomfort practices, and progressive overload for the mind. Measuring and tracking your resilience, practical tools and self-assessments to monitor your growth in this pillar. The long-term payoff, what life feels like when unshakable resilience becomes your default. Faster recovery, deeper confidence, and the ability to turn every setback into an advantage. Chapter 5. Pillar 2. Laser focus under pressure. How to think clearly when everything is chaotic. You now understand unshakable resilience, the first pillar of mental toughness. In this chapter, you will master Pillar 2. Laser focus under pressure, the ability to think clearly, make sharp decisions, and maintain concentration when chaos, stress, or high stakes hit. You will learn why most people's thinking collapses under pressure, and how to train your brain to stay sharp when it matters most. By the end, you will have practical tools to keep your mind focused and effective no matter how intense the situation becomes. Stay with me. This is where you stop freezing or panicking and start performing at your highest level under pressure. Stay strong when life gets hard. Pressure doesn't just test your emotions, it tests your thinking. When stakes are high, most people's minds become foggy, scattered, or paralyzed. They make emotional decisions, miss obvious solutions, or completely freeze. True mental toughness requires something more powerful. The ability to maintain laser focus when everything around you is falling apart. This is Pillar 2 of mental toughness. In this chapter, you will learn the neuroscience of focus under pressure and the exact training methods used by elite performers to keep their mind crystal clear in the middle of chaos. Most people perform well when life is calm and easy. But the moment pressure increases, deadlines, conflict, financial stress, public scrutiny, or sudden crisis, their thinking quality drops dramatically. They overthink, second-guess, get overwhelmed by emotions, or make impulsive decisions they later regret. This mental fog under pressure is one of the biggest reasons talented people fail to reach their potential. The problem is not lack of intelligence. It is lack of training in how the brain maintains focus when cortisol and adrenaline flood the system. This chapter fixes that by giving you the scientific blueprint for laser focus under pressure. Alex was a talented surgeon who performed brilliantly in routine operations. But during emergency surgeries with high stakes and time pressure, he would sometimes freeze, second-guess himself, or lose focus for critical seconds. This cost him confidence and nearly ended his career. When Alex learned and applied the techniques for laser focus under pressure from this chapter, the change was immediate. He trained his brain to stay calm and sharply focused even in life-or-death situations. Within months, he became known as the surgeon who performed best when the pressure was highest. Alex didn't become smarter. He learned to keep his mind laser-focused when it mattered most. Pillar 2. Laser focus under pressure. How to think clearly when everything is chaotic. The neuroscience of focus under pressure. How the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and attention networks interact when stress hormones spike, and why most people lose clarity. Why focus collapses. The role of cognitive overload, emotional hijacking, and threat response in destroying clear thinking. The 4 levels of focus from scattered reactivity to elite-level flow under fire, and how to move up the levels. Advanced training techniques. The pressure simulation protocol, 90-second focus, reset technique, cognitive load management, pre-performance mental rehearsal, real-time tools for high pressure. Moments, immediate techniques to regain clarity when chaos hits. Box breathing, anchoring statements, and attention narrowing. Building long-term focus strength, daily practices that strengthen your brain's ability to stay focused under increasing levels of pressure. Common mistakes that destroy focus: multitasking under stress, rumination, and emotional leakage, with exact fixes. The long-term payoff: what life feels like when you can maintain laser focus under pressure, better decisions, higher performance, and unshakable confidence in any situation. Chapter 6. Pillar 3. Emotional regulation mastery. How to stay calm when emotions want to take over. You now understand unshakable resilience and laser focus under pressure, the first 2 pillars of mental toughness. In this chapter, you will master Pillar 3, emotional regulation mastery, the ability to stay calm and in control when strong emotions try to hijack your mind. You will learn why emotions overwhelm most people under pressure, and how to train your brain to regulate them instantly. By the end, you will have powerful tools to prevent emotional storms from destroying your performance and peace. Stay with me. This is where you stop being ruled by your feelings and start ruling them. Stay strong when life gets hard. Emotions are not the enemy, losing control of them is. When pressure hits, most people don't lose because of the situation. They lose because their emotions take over. Anger explodes, fear paralyses, sadness shuts them down, or anxiety creates panic. Mental toughness requires something most people never develop: the ability to feel strong emotions without being controlled by them. This is Pillar 3, emotional regulation mastery. In this chapter, you will learn the neuroscience of how emotions work under pressure and the exact techniques to regulate them in real time so you stay calm, clear, and effective no matter how intense the feeling becomes. Most people believe that being emotional is just part of being human. They accept that anger, fear, or anxiety will hijack their decisions and ruin their performance. They say things like, "I can't help it, that's just how I am," or "I was too emotional." This acceptance keeps them weak. Under pressure, uncontrolled emotions cause poor decisions, damaged relationships, lost opportunities, and long-term regret. The problem is not feeling emotions, it is letting them take the wheel. Science now shows that emotional regulation is a trainable skill. You can feel intense emotions and still respond with strength and clarity. This chapter gives you the complete system to do exactly that. Carlos. Carlos was a skilled negotiator who performed well in normal meetings. But when negotiations became heated or personal attacks started, his emotions would explode. He would get angry, defensive, or shut down completely, losing deals and damaging his reputation. When Carlos learned and applied the emotional regulation techniques from this chapter, the transformation was remarkable. He could feel the anger rising, but no longer let it control his words or decisions. He stayed calm, used the emotions as information, and began winning difficult negotiations consistently. Carlos didn't stop feeling emotions. He learned to master them, and it changed his entire career. Pillar 3. Emotional Regulation Mastery. How to stay calm when emotions want to take over. The neuroscience of emotional hijacking. How the amygdala hijacks the prefrontal cortex under pressure, and why this causes emotional collapse. The difference between feeling and being controlled, why suppressing emotions fails, and what true regulation actually looks like. The 6-second rule and other instant regulation tools, practical techniques to interrupt emotional spirals before they take control. Advanced emotional regulation protocols. The name it to tame it. Method: physiological psi plus reframing combo. Emotional labeling. With distance, the observer position technique building. Long-term emotional strength, daily practices that raise your baseline emotional regulation capacity over time. Handling specific high-pressure emotions, detailed strategies for anger, fear, sadness, shame, and overwhelm. Common mistakes that make regulation harder: emotional suppression, rumination, and using substances, with exact corrections. The long-term payoff: what life feels like when you can feel strong emotions without losing control, better decisions, stronger relationships, and unshakable inner peace under pressure. Chapter 7. Turning Failure into Strength. Every mentally tough person you admire has one thing in common. They failed far more times than you ever will, and that's exactly why they became unbreakable. Failure is not the opposite of mental toughness. It is the raw material from which mental toughness is forged. We live in a world that treats failure like a disease. We avoid it, hide it, and feel ashamed of it. Schools punish it, parents fear it, and social media makes us believe everyone else is succeeding while we're secretly failing. This fear of failure keeps most people mentally fragile. They quit at the first sign of struggle, avoid challenges, and never reach their true potential. Science now proves what the greatest performers have always known. Failure is one of the most powerful teachers for building mental toughness. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that people who experience significant failure or adversity and process it correctly often emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. The key is not avoiding failure, but learning how to fail forward. The mentally tough don't see failure as proof they are not good enough. They see it as valuable data. Every setback gives them information about what doesn't work, where they need to improve, and how much tougher they need to become. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they ask, "What is this trying to teach me? How can I use this pain to become stronger?" This shift in mindset is what separates those who break under pressure from those who grow because of it. Failure stops being something to fear and becomes something to embrace. The more you fail, the more antifragile your mind becomes. The process is simple but not easy. 1. Feel the disappointment fully, don't suppress it. 2. Analyze what went wrong without self-judgment. 3. Extract the lesson. 4. Adjust and try again, this time stronger. When you train yourself to do this consistently, failure loses its power to destroy you. Instead, it becomes the fuel that builds unbreakable mental toughness. Failure is not the enemy of mental toughness. It is the builder. Learn to fail forward by extracting lessons instead of dwelling in shame. The more you fail and recover, the tougher your mind becomes. Turn every setback into strength. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. She was broke, depressed, and a single mother. Each rejection hurt deeply, but instead of giving up, she used the pain as motivation to improve her writing and persevere. Those failures didn't break her. They forged the mental toughness that helped her become one of the most successful authors in history. She later said the rejections were essential to her growth. Chapter 8. Purpose, the ultimate anchor. When life gets hard and everything around you is falling apart, what keeps you standing? It's not motivation. It's not willpower. It's something much deeper, your purpose. Purpose is the strongest predictor of mental toughness in scientific studies. When you have a powerful why, the how becomes unstoppable. Most people drift through life without a clear purpose. When pressure hits, loss, failure, stress, or uncertainty, they have nothing strong enough to hold on to. They collapse, quit, or lose direction because they don't know why they're fighting in the first place. Purpose is the ultimate anchor for mental toughness. In one of the most powerful studies on human resilience, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl observed that prisoners in Nazi concentration camps who had a strong sense of purpose were far more likely to survive extreme suffering than those who didn't. He concluded, those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Modern science confirms this. Research from the U.S., military, elite sports psychology, and positive psychology shows that individuals with a clear, meaningful purpose demonstrate higher levels of grit, perseverance, and emotional stability under extreme pressure. Purpose does 3 powerful things for your mind. 1. It gives meaning to suffering when you're struggling. Purpose transforms pain from pointless suffering into necessary sacrifice. 2. It creates clarity in chaos. When everything is uncertain, purpose becomes your North Star. You know what matters and what doesn't. 3. It fuels long-term discipline. Motivation fades quickly, but purpose keeps you going even when you feel empty. The mentally tough don't wait for motivation. They rely on purpose. When they feel like quitting, they ask themselves, why am I doing this? If the answer is strong enough, they keep moving forward. Finding your purpose doesn't require a grand life mission. It can be as simple as being the best parent. You can be building something that helps others, becoming the kind of person who never gives up, proving to yourself that you're capable of more. The key is making it personal and emotional. A purpose that only exists in your head won't survive pressure. It must live in your heart. When life gets hard, and it always will, your purpose becomes the anchor that keeps you from being swept away. It reminds you that the struggle has meaning. It turns "I can't do this" into "I must do this." This is why purpose is the ultimate weapon of mental toughness. It doesn't remove the storm. It gives you a reason to walk through it. Purpose is the strongest anchor for mental toughness. When you have a powerful why, you can endure almost any how. Find a reason bigger than your pain and you will stay strong when life gets hard. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison under brutal conditions. Many men broke in that time. Mandela didn't. His purpose, ending apartheid and building a free South Africa, was bigger than his suffering. Even in isolation, he studied, forgave his captors in his mind, and prepared for the future. When he was finally released, he emerged not bitter, but stronger and ready to lead his nation. His purpose kept him mentally tough through decades of pressure. Chapter 9. Daily Training for Mental Toughness. Mental toughness is not built during the big crisis. It is built in the small, quiet choices you make every single day when no one is watching. The science is clear. Consistent micro-habits create macro-resilience. Mental toughness is a skill that must be trained daily, just like physical strength. Most people wait for a major challenge or crisis before trying to become mentally tough. They hope that when pressure comes, they will suddenly rise to the occasion. But the truth is painful. If you don't train your mind every day, you will almost certainly break when life gets hard. The foundation of real mental toughness is daily practice. Elite performers, Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, special forces operators, and top executives don't become tough overnight. They build toughness through small, repeatable daily habits that rewire their brain over time. Here is the proven daily training system for mental toughness. 1. Morning intention setting. 5 minutes every morning. Ask yourself 3 questions. What is my purpose today? What pressure might I face? How will I respond like a mentally tough person? This simple ritual primes your brain for resilience before the day even begins. 2. Deliberate discomfort practice. Choose one small act of discomfort every day. Cold shower, hard workout, fasting, or speaking up when it's uncomfortable. These microdoses of voluntary stress build your tolerance to real pressure. 3. The 90-second rule. When strong emotions arise, give yourself 90 seconds to feel them fully without reacting. Neuroscience shows that after 90 seconds, the chemical surge in your body naturally begins to fade. This trains emotional regulation under pressure. 4. Failure review. Evening reflection. At the end of each day, ask, where did I fail or struggle today? What did I learn from it? How will I be stronger tomorrow? This turns every failure into immediate growth instead of regret. 5. Visualization of adversity. Spend 2-3 minutes visualizing yourself facing pressure calmly and performing well. Athletes and special forces use this technique to prepare the brain for real stress. 6. Gratitude under pressure. Even on hard days, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This simple practice rewires your brain from threat detection to opportunity detection. Consistency beats intensity. Doing these small practices imperfectly every day is far more powerful than doing them perfectly once in a while. Over months and years, these daily habits compound into genuine mental toughness. The beautiful part is this: you don't need to wait for life to get hard to start training. You can begin building mental toughness today in the smallest moments. The more consistently you train when life is easy, the stronger you will be when life gets hard. Mental toughness is built through daily training, not sudden heroism. Use morning intention, deliberate discomfort, emotional regulation, failure review, and visualization every single day. Small, consistent habits create unbreakable resilience. David Goggins, once overweight and depressed, transformed himself into one of the toughest humans alive by committing to brutal daily training. He ran ultramarathons on broken legs, did thousands of pull-ups with injured shoulders, and pushed his body and mind far beyond normal limits every single day. His daily discipline turned him from a broken man into a symbol of mental toughness worldwide. Chapter 10. Becoming Antifragile, the ultimate level of mental toughness. The final and highest level of mental toughness is not simply surviving pressure. It is becoming stronger because of the pressure. This is what it means to become antifragile. Nassim Nicholas Taleb introduced the concept of antifragility. Systems that don't just withstand stress, they improve, grow, and get better when exposed to it. Mental toughness at its peak is antifragility of the mind. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort, stress, and failure. They aim only for resilience, the ability to return to their original state after hardship. But true mental toughness goes far beyond resilience. The antifragile mind doesn't return to normal after pressure. It comes back stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. Those who only seek to bounce back will always remain fragile in the long run. The ones who learn to thrive on chaos become unstoppable. Let us now bring everything together. Throughout the previous 9 chapters, we have explored the science of mental toughness from many angles, understanding how pressure affects the brain, reframing stress as fuel, embracing deliberate discomfort, regulating emotions under fire, maintaining laser focus in chaos, turning failure into strength, anchoring yourself with purpose, and training daily with small but consistent habits. Chapter 10 is not about learning something new. It is about integration, combining all these skills into one powerful operating system for your mind. When these elements work together, you cross the threshold from being merely tough to becoming truly antifragile. What does an antifragile mind look like in real life? When others panic, you stay calm. When others quit, you find a way forward. When others are broken by failure, you are sharpened by it. When chaos increases, your clarity increases. When the storm gets louder, your purpose burns brighter. This is not theory. This is the result of deliberate, daily practice of the principles we've covered. Let's look at how the pieces fit together. 1. You understand the neuroscience of pressure. Chapter 2. You no longer see racing heart and sweaty palms as danger signals. You recognize them as your body preparing you for peak performance. This single shift prevents the amygdala hijack that destroys most people under stress. 2. You view stress as fuel. Chapter 3. Instead of trying to eliminate stress, you harness it. You know that moderate stress followed by recovery makes your mind stronger, just like lifting weights makes your muscles stronger. 3. You voluntarily seek discomfort. Chapter 4. Every day you expose yourself to small, controlled stressors. Over time, your nervous system becomes desensitized to real pressure. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. For you master emotional regulation. Chapter 5. You feel deeply, but you are no longer controlled by your feelings. You use the sacred pause, labeling and breathing techniques to respond instead of react. 5. You protect your focus like a sacred resource. Chapter 6. In a world designed to fragment attention, you maintain laser-like concentration even when chaos surrounds you. 6. You turn every failure into strength. Chapter 7. You don't fear failure, you mine it for lessons. Each setback becomes data that makes you wiser and tougher. 7. You are anchored by a powerful purpose. Chapter 8. Your why is bigger than any temporary pain. This purpose acts as your North Star when everything else is uncertain. 8. You train daily. Chapter 9. Mental toughness is not a switch you flip during crisis. It is a muscle you build every single day through small, consistent practices. When all 8 of these pillars are strong and working together, something remarkable happens. You stop fearing pressure. You begin to welcome it. You understand that every difficult situation is an opportunity to level up your mind. This is antifragility. The antifragile mind doesn't hope for easy times. It knows that easy times produce weak people. Instead, it seeks challenges because it knows challenges are the only path to greatness. Real-world examples of antifragile minds are everywhere if you know where to look. Nelson Mandela didn't just survive 27 years in prison, he emerged as a greater leader than before. Malala Yousafzai didn't just survive being shot, she became a more powerful voice for education. Viktor Frankl didn't just survive the Holocaust, he created a new school of psychology based on the meaning he found in suffering. These individuals didn't return to their previous state after trauma. They became stronger, wiser, and more impactful because of it. You can do the same. The path is clear. Start today. Choose one small practice from each chapter and begin implementing it. Build slowly but consistently. Expect setbacks. They are part of the training. When you fall, get up, extract the lesson, and continue. Over time, you will notice something profound. The things that used to break you now strengthen you. The pressure that once overwhelmed you now sharpens you. The failures that once discouraged you now empower you. This is the science of mental toughness taken to its highest level. Stay strong when life gets hard. Not because life is easy, but because you have trained your mind to thrive when it is hard. You are no longer just resilient. You are antifragile. And that, my friend, is the ultimate form of mental toughness. The highest level of mental toughness is antifragility, not just surviving pressure, but becoming stronger because of it. When you combine all the skills from this audiobook, understanding pressure, embracing stress, deliberate discomfort, emotional regulation, focus, turning failure into strength, living with purpose, and daily training, you become truly unbreakable. Stay strong when life gets hard. Let every storm make you better. Real-world example. After being shot in the head at age 15 for advocating girls' education, Malala Yousafzai could have lived in fear and silence. Instead, she used that traumatic event as fuel. She recovered, continued her activism with even greater clarity and courage, won the Nobel Peace Prize, and became one of the most powerful voices for education in the world. She did not just survive the pressure, she became stronger, wiser, and more impactful because of it. That is the living definition of an antifragile mind. Thank you for listening to the Science of Mental Toughness. Master your mind under pressure on the infinite library. The knowledge is now yours. The only question left is, will you train your mind every day so you can stay strong when life gets hard? Drop the word Antifragile in the comments if you are committed to building mental toughness. Which chapter helped you the most? Tell me the number. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more powerful wisdom on mindset and human potential. Remember, the storm is coming. Train now so you don't just survive it, you become stronger because of it. Stay strong.